sorry. I didn't realize that it had been turned off. We've got a couple of members that said they need to leave early, so we're going to try to accommodate their schedules. The first order of business is for us to allow Board Member Porter to participate telephonically.
Second.
We've got a motion by Board Member Williams-Cox, seconded by Board Member Minor, to allow Board Member Porter to participate telephonically. Is there any objection to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Commissioner Porter, you there? Board Member Porter?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay, all right. All right, so we are then on the regular business meeting of the board. Are there any agenda modifications, Mr. White?
Yes, Chairman. Item number 3 has been pulled from the consent agenda.
Okay, all right, so we'll take up item number 3 as part of our general business. And are there any citizens to be heard?
Yes, Chairman. There is one citizen to be heard on non-agenda items. We also have a citizen on item 3 and item 8, but we can call those during those specific items.
Okay.
So we have one citizen to be heard.
Okay.
Stanley Sims.
(1320) Avondale Way.
Stanley Sims.
Don't hear me.
That was our only speaker.
Okay.
That was the only speaker on non-agenda items.
Okay. All right, and so that moves us to the informational items and presentations. Do we have any, Mr. White?
We do not have any presentation on informational items.
Okay. And we are on item number 4, the consent agenda. And there's one item that's been pulled from consent.
Yes, Chairman. Item number 3 has been pulled from consent.
Okay, and we'll take that up as the first item of business.
Mr. Chair, I move for acceptance of the rest of the consent agenda items.
Okay, there's a motion by Board Member Williams-Cox, seconded by Board Member O'Keefe. Board Member. I was seeing if he was paying attention. I wasn't. By Board Member Welch.
O'Keefe was paying attention.
He just saw a bald head instead of.
Right.
One has a dark beard there, and the other one has a light beard.
All right, all in favor of the motion to accept the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously on the consent agenda. So that brings us then to item number 3, which was pulled from consent. Ms. White?
Thank you, Chairman. Item number 3 is the status report on communication policies and business support practices during construction of infrastructure projects. This item was pulled by Commissioner O'Keefe. And I can either give an overview or we do have a citizen to be heard on this item.
Okay.
So
Let's hear the citizen input.
Serena Moyle. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. Serena Moyle, volunteer president of the Market District Association, 1006 Washington Street. I was advised last night that this item was pulled, and in trying to read through, I agree with everything that had been said about the communication, but I would like to advise all the commissioners that it was by the businesses that were not adjacent to the property. It was the businesses that were impacted on Market Street and suffered the most, or in addition to everybody else, suffered more. That was totally unintended consequences to their businesses, all down 20%. And when they got together and realized this, they wanted to take action. One of the things that we have sought and would hope that you would consider is a policy to compensate the businesses that have been severely impacted. Now, that's not just a giveaway, but that would be a measured and planned policy that you could follow, similar to maybe, as an example, the PPE federal policy that was followed and implemented during COVID. All of us businesses that are serious and have a lot of data to prove that the minute construction started and that roadway, that impact was felt not just around Market, by the park. It was found on Market Street, by Shamrock, by Bedfellows, by the restaurants, and it's not just stores. It is all shapes and sizes of businesses. Now, you will find one or two businesses that were not impacted. The process that you could consider would be that you must demonstrate a process that you have shown that there is evidence of business loss. So I'd like you to be creative and try to come up with something that there's a way to, we've asked for signage. We still didn't have enough signage. So, but at this point, it doesn't really, impact it. It would help if you would work with us to say, okay, businesses, tell us exactly what it looks like. Allison has done her best. When we had that one part that we did where we itemized and told the businesses, exactly named the businesses, but there still was nothing on Timber Lane. There still was nothing that really showed, hey, we're still open. This is the way you go. There were no billboards. That fell through with the merger of Prime Meridian to Mid-Park or Mid-Florida. They did not have any billboards. So we didn't have any billboards. We only had a digital campaign. While I appreciate a digital campaign, people drive. Unfortunately, in this town, we are not, walkers. We're trying to change that. But if we had some more visual signage, that would
30
be
seconds.
a much better way to do it. And really would challenge you to be creative, to figure out a way to help us. Sponsor a party, sponsor something, help us with more marketing dollars to now change the habits back to coming to the Market District. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we want to give staff direction to get with Serena and the businesses from the area?
I think if I make a motion and start, we can get there.
Okay.
I'll move that we accept staff report for discussion.
Okay. There's a motion by Commissioner or Board Member O'Keefe, seconded by Board Member Welch. Commissioner or Board Member O'Keefe,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, staff, for this. The reason I pulled this is because it was all very helpful information, and part of the takeaway was within what rules and policies are allowed, staff is doing a lot with communication and signage and things like that. And I know that when we discussed this at the last meeting before, we probably all had different ideas of what was coming back, and it's missing something that was in one of my ideas, and so I'm bringing it up to see what the temperature in the room is for this. And we see in here that infrastructure tax dollars would not be likely statutorily or legally appropriate for business support. And then OEV dollars do not have a current policy that says this is something we can do. And so what I would like to see, and the reason I'm pulling it is, I would like to see suggested policy changes come back to this board, since this board can change policy, assuming they're statutorily allowed, to develop some level of financial support or incentive or support program for businesses impacted by future blueprint projects. And so that's the gist. It's a good report. I think it's what many people thought this was going to be, but that is why I'm pulling it, because I would like to see suggested policy revisions that could provide some level of financial support through OEV to businesses impacted by ongoing or future infrastructure projects. And so I would like to amend my motion to accept the report and ask for an agenda item to come back on suggested policy revisions that would support a program for impacted businesses.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. That's what I have.
Well, there was a second. Okay. So there's this motion and the second to do have several speakers. Okay. Board Member Welch and then Board Member Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be brief. I agree with Commissioner O'Keefe. I was kind of hoping that something like that would come back this time, but that's okay. I think that, there's still some things that can be done in the Market District to help these folks out. Again, as I had mentioned at the previous meeting when I brought this up, it was, we want to have policy in place that and we can make that decision as a board to dedicate a certain amount of funding to help disrupted businesses that are impacted by something like this. Now, the Market District kind of is unique in that it's an extremely dense business district with a lot of businesses and a lot of traffic and a lot of action. So this particular project created a very salient disruption for those folks. So I would like to see some policy options come back. And if that's the direction that staff needs, I apologize for not getting clarity on that. I know we're at the end of the meeting last time we discussed this. So if we could get policy options, and I mean, look, it may be that there's no money. It may be that there's no place to put something like this. But I think generally speaking, if we're going to have a prolonged infrastructure project or infrastructure improvement, it's incumbent on us to at least investigate the idea of providing some kind of a compensation fund, some kind of, I forget what Commissioner O'Keefe called it, like an impact fund or something like that.
Impacted assistance.
Yeah, I think that the Market District won't be the last one. And again, Welaunee Boulevard's not going to have this problem. Bannerman Road largely won't have this problem, although it could actually have this problem in certain parts of it. So, Tharp Street could have this problem. I mean, this could be problematic. And if you can come in and show me that you've lost 20% year over year in revenue, and you're a restaurant or a boutique or some kind of a business that relies on foot traffic for retail and or restaurants, where, I mean, just, if you guys could give us like some options, and the options may be that just, no, this can't be done. Obviously, the communication stuff is great. I think there's more room, obviously, according to Ms. Moyle, that can be done there to help them out. I think all business districts aren't going to be as organized as the Market District is. They're very organized. They really work together well. And so I think that's another area where we need to be very proactive in making sure that we're engaging with these business districts and businesses. A lot of them are small businesses. A lot of them are paying high rents. And so you lose 10, 15% of your foot traffic, it can be devastating to a small business. And we've seen that repeatedly in the community as they continue to come and go. So thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. I appreciate the motion, and I'll second it.
All right. Board Member Matlow and then Board Member Proctor. And if you all could limit your discussion. I mean, we've got several items to consider.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for the item. I think it did cover the motion as it passed. I know we had extended conversation about other issues at that meeting. I'd still be in opposition to a direct fund to payment of businesses. As you just look at the scale of what that would entail on all of our road projects, it would just be astronomical. Commissioner Maddox mentioned earlier, Capitol Circle's been under construction for 26 years. Count the businesses on Capitol Circle. Every single one of them has been impacted over that 26 years, and how much payment can really go out to compensate them. I've lived through construction in my businesses at different locations. I understand those impacts. They can be awful. They can be hard. Some businesses along Gain Street didn't even make it through road construction. But then at the same time, I think private spending does follow infrastructure and improvements. I think if you look at the historic areas where Blueprint has invested, those businesses are then doing better than they may have been doing even before. We wouldn't then go ask them to now contribute because we help them do better. But I am sympathetic to the issues that have impacted Market District and other areas. I think there are solutions and things we can do to help and be helpful. It was, marketing efforts for the reopening of the Market District. If we can do, digital TV, mail, signage, billboard campaigns, those sorts of things I do think are beneficial to those businesses to get it jump-started again. I just want to be able to support kind of a slippery slope of just starting a direct payment program, even if businesses did take losses. And add on to that, I would support, and was mentioned earlier, and I think as we look at the policy, bringing in the businesses that will be impacted on the front end before it starts, we got a lot of complaints about signage location or what's on signage or where signs should be. I think the businesses in those areas are best suited to tell us where they need signage, what it should look like, where it should go. And I think if we could have a policy where that kind of brainstorming happened with those businesses on the front end, and we took the direction of them, from them, of where those things are located. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Board Member Proctor, and then Board Member Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too believe that when we're adding millions of dollars of improvements which directly benefit specific businesses, that we pay businesses as we also pay to improve access and infrastructure to those businesses. That double payment is bothersome to me. I want to ask our council, would, if prospectively, Commissioner O'Keefe's idea about the policy, would our making up a policy now to go along with compensation, a new clause, would it be made applicable to this project wherein we never factored the economics of reparations or whatever the word might be, compensation for the loss of business? How would that work, and would it be applicable to a project already underway? And we're trying to catch up and attach this new idea to a project that's underway. Can you tell us your thoughts about it?
Yes, Commissioner. So I don't think it's a question of whether or not the project is underway or not. It's a question of the legally allowable uses for the OEB dollars. Under the statute, it has to be used for economic development projects. So I think this type of program does not fit with an economic development project, and that's laid out in your agenda materials, citing the statutory reference as well. So I think that's the overarching issue with a policy or a program of this nature, is that it just doesn't fit with what the money should be used for.
Yes, ma'am. I would say, and I would speak to Mr. Tedder in office, whose familiarity with eminent domain right away, that we've had a policy, I don't know if it's from the state or if it was a city, county policy, Mr. Tedder, wherein we've taken projected business losses. We looked at the tax reports of previous years and the time with which construction impacted a business, and looked at their income statements. And we made payments. Is that a state program? Exactly. We've seen it. What's that? Okay, so we have a policy already in place like that. So how does that reconcile with our attorney's advisement? I mean, because if we got that in place, I'm familiar with our having written checks for people's business being closed.
Okay, so there are two buckets of money here that you deal with in terms of the agency. So you have the funds that go towards infrastructure. Those are the roadway projects that Autumn talked about earlier today during our budget workshop. For those funds, we can use those funds under the statute, which is Chapter 212, specifically 212.055. We can use those funds for land acquisition. So if we need to purchase a portion or someone's property or the entire property, we can use those funds for that acquisition to purchase that property. If, for example, we're negotiating with a property owner and they decide, hey, you're not offering me enough money, or I just refuse for whatever reason to negotiate, then we would start the eminent domain process. We would get authority from this board to go forward with a resolution. There are actually two in your agenda materials today. With that resolution, we could proceed with a court a petition in eminent domain to acquire the property. Of course, we would still have to pay for the property. We would have to pay the attorney's fees and costs and so forth as required by statute. So the infrastructure money can be used for land acquisition, property acquisition. It can be used for eminent domain proceedings in which we would need to acquire property. So the key here, and I heard the public speaker mentioned some programs that we had. I think that was back in COVID. We had the Cedar and the Lean programs. You all may remember that. but that was funded by federal monies. That was federal grant money. That was not from OEB funds. It wasn't from infrastructure funds, because that would not be an allowable use of those funds to do that type of program that we did, several years ago. So quick answer to your question is the statutes, chapters 73 and 74, which are the eminent domain statutes, do allow for us to use the infrastructure money for property acquisition, and businesses that have been impacted severely, substantially by our projects, or by a, quote, taking of property for our projects. There is a remedy and mechanism for them to pursue compensation under the statutory framework. They can make a claim for business damages, but there's a high bar to do that, which is not what you are looking at here. This is a sort of a program that has its own particular complexity.
So there is no calculation built in on the front end of an eminent taking that calculates business loss or projected business loss that is a part of that offer to businesses that are impacted not only from infrastructure, but the actual loss of receipts.
There is a statutory process. So, for example, if there is a portion of a business owner's property that we need, we follow the statute, which is we make an offer, we give them an opportunity to consider that offer, we continue negotiations with the property owner. But in the event that, they hire an expert and they say, hey, I'm willing to maybe, negotiate on the property, the piece that you own, but my business will be substantially impacted. They have 180 days to make that claim to us, and we have a certain period of time, I think it's 120 days, to consider their business damages and to try to negotiate and respond back to them. But the onus and the statute is upon them to let us know within 180 days of our offer that they have business damages.
All right,
And they
Commissioners
have to
O'Keefe
prove
and
those.
Matlow, I hope you all heard that, and somewhere lodged in the back of my mind, I have recall to exactly what you've just said. So I think that we have in place, inherent within the current existing framework of eminent domain, that which impacts businesses, but it was just what Attorney Dawson described. So I'm well satisfied, Mr. Chairman, for the answer, and that our policy addresses the concerns raised.
Commissioner Williams, Board Member Caban, and Member Williams.
I took mine down.
Okay. And Board Member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to say, I typically support any program such as this. I would be even open to, maybe 0% interest bridge loans to help businesses get through construction, if that's legally allowable. The Market Street District, and particularly how that construction was done, which I appreciate. It looks like it's been moving. But I myself have tried to get to multiple businesses in that corridor. It's just extremely difficult to even kind of find the detour and way to kind of enter that corridor. And so I imagine that some of those things are pretty difficult for some local businesses, especially when it's kind of both sides are completely blocked. And so I'm sympathetic to small businesses like that, especially that are local businesses. And I think it's my opinion that part of economic development is supporting local businesses in hard times. And we did that at Leon County after the May 10th tornadoes. And so I think there's a way that we could evaluate businesses by a per business basis to see some construction impacts businesses way more than other, depending where they are geographically on a roadway. So I'm typically supportive of a program such as this. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any further? I'm sorry. Board Member Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had raised my hand earlier when Commissioner O'Keefe pulled the item and made the suggestion. I was out of the room, and I think Attorney Dawson answered my question. I couldn't hear all of it, but my question was, could their research be expanded? I know they were going to bring back an agenda item on this particular issue, businesses that are impacted by construction and what have you. But my question was, could it be expanded to other businesses that have been adversely impacted from an economic standpoint? And I was thinking specifically about the art district that was plummeted by the storms and what have you. But I think Attorney Dawson was saying that that's excluded natural disaster, and to the extent that we helped businesses a couple of years ago that were impacted, it was federal funds that was used, and that the OEV funds would be excluded from that. Is that correct, Attorney Dawson? If not, I'd like to expand and ask them if they could include, other businesses that are economically impacted as well.
That's correct. The two programs, Cedar and Lean, were not used with OEV money. They were not used with infrastructure money. They were federal funds that I think were earmarked for that purpose, although OEV was sort of the administrator and just kind of helping the county out with that. But their funds were not used for that purpose.
So in this respect, as far as Commissioner O'Keefe's motion, we're pretty much restricted to businesses that are impacted from construction related issues, correct?
Well, I think if you look at the section that we did on allowable uses for related to this proposed project or program, it is definitely prohibited, without a doubt, from using infrastructure funds. It is not necessarily consistent with the statute when it comes to the OEV funds, because one, it has to be for economic development, a general public purpose of economic development, and this proposed program may not be. Number two, it is the program does not hit a targeted industry and is not within your strategic plan that the IA board approved. And all of that is spelled out in detail, Commissioner, in the item. So I think that's kind of where we've landed at this point.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Dawson, for that clarification. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Board Member Daley, and we'll finish up with Board Member.
Commissioner O'Keefe, I think it's a great idea. The answer might be no at the end of the day, but the motion is to bring an agenda item back and challenge staff to think creatively. I appreciate that. I'm going to support the motion. And I think it's time that we can step up, show some true leadership, say maybe the ownership is not necessarily on us, but who are our partners that we can work with? I see representatives of the chamber here in town, in chambers. And I know that the chamber has got a new concerted effort to support local businesses. So how do we fit in with that? We're going to have a new governor, new leadership in the legislature. What does the Department of Commerce offer that we can partner with? What does the federal government offer that we can partner with? David, I think it's a great idea to explore all of these options and see what we can come up with. It's a great way to bring the chambers to the table and work with us as well. So look, we might not be the funder, but we might be the fiscal agent for state and federal money and play that role. So I support the motion, and I look forward to seeing the creative ideas that staff brings back. Again, the motion on the table is simply to bring back an idea, and I think it's a good one.
Board Member O'Keefe, we're going to bring this in for a landing.
Board Member Daley is with me. I'm good. I don't have anything else.
All right.
Well,
All right.
Mr. Chair, since they're okay, let me, something the mayor said that I was going to say, but I decided not to say, but I'm going to say it now. Okay. We're asking staff to come back with some creative ideas.
Yes.
What's wrong with that picture? Staff will come back with some creative ideas, and guess what happens? So why don't we provide some feedback to staff for these creative ideas?
and let them formulate and maybe do some legwork and do the research or what have you. But I think it's incumbent upon us not to just toss it over to them while we wait to see what they come up with, so we can, do whatever we do with their creative ideas when they bring them back. We should give some feedback or some guidance on what that means.
All right, there's a motion and a second to the motion. Any further discussion? Questions, ideas? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed has the right.
Aye.
Opposed has the same right. Hearing no opposition, the motion carries unanimously. All right. We now are on general business, which brings us to item number 5. The first item of general business is the election of the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency Board Vice Chair. Are there any speakers on this item? Any public speakers? Right.
We do not have any public speakers on this item.
Okay.
However, I will note that someone came in to speak on unagended items
Right.
after that section of the agenda is already passed. So there's one speaker, should you choose to allow them to speak on unagended items.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
I
We
beg,
could also do that at the end of the meeting.
Mr. Chair.
Board Member Williams-Cox.
thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to make a nomination for vice chair, if that's where we are, or where are we?
Why don't we go ahead and do that, and we'll pick up the speaker at the end of the Board Member Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that it's the county's turn
Yes.
to be vice chair, and I wanted to nominate Rick Minor as vice chair for Blueprint. It's my understanding that he has not had an opportunity to serve, or,
That's correct.
okay. It's not, and I think that he should have that opportunity.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second to that? Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any additional?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to speak on that.
Yeah.
And that is, Mr. Chairman, I would just ask if a county commissioner could nominate a city commissioner to represent the city. I'm just asking are we all singing Kumbaya? Just a question.
I'm fine if there's a county, I will back off. I was just trying to be efficient.
No, I'm not trying for anyone to back off. I'm seeking clarity. Could a county commissioner make the nomination for the city commission's representative? That's all I'm asking. Madam
White.
Attorney, you want to weigh in on
Yes,
that?
for clarification, as long as the person selected at this point is a member of the county commission, anyone on the IA board can make the motion. The same would be true, should it be the opposite.
So if a county commissioner nominated Commissioner Porter next year, that wouldn't be a problem? No objection? That's legal?
That would be legal.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Board Member Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I probably have the same conversation Commissioner Proctor is alluding to. It's not always clear seniority, favorites, how these ideas come about of who serves chair. Unfortunately, on the city commission, I've seen Commissioner Porter never get nominated for a chairmanship, a mayor pro tem, or frankly, anything. I don't know how we pick winners and losers. And I know since I've been on the Blueprint board for 8 years, even on the county side, Commissioner Proctor, I think you have the most seniority. And have you served as vice chair of this board?
I don't know. Have I served anybody? Got to go back to Stonehenge.
Not in my tenure. Okay.
I served?
Okay.
I believe he has previously, but it may have been a number of years.
I asked ChatGPT to look back to 2012. Maybe I didn't go far back enough, Commissioner Proctor. No disrespect to Commissioner Minor, I think he can do a fantastic job, but I know who had the most seniority since I've been here is Commissioner Proctor. I think he also gets skipped over routinely over the years that I've seen as vice chair and chairmanship, even at the county, though he has had the opportunity to serve there. So I'd like to make a substitute motion to nominate Commissioner Bill Proctor as vice chair.
Second.
There is a substitute motion by Board Member Matlow, seconded by Board Member O'Keefe. All in favor of the substitute motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Can we do a roll call?
Let's do a roll call. Okay.
Mayor Daley,
No.
Commissioner Matlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Porter,
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson,
No.
Commissioner Williams Cox,
No.
Commissioner Caban,
Aye.
Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox, Commissioner Minor,
That's a little awkward, I'd say no.
Commissioner O'Keefe,
Yes.
Commissioner Proctor,
Yep.
Commissioner Welch.
I hate that we're in this position. I guess I'm gonna have to say yes.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes. Congratulations. Board Member Proctor is our new vice chair.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, I want to explain to Commissioner Proctor, I voted no because I made the motion for, for Rick Minor, we kind of flip-flopping. So, congratulations.
Chair. Congratulations, Commissioner Proctor. Look forward to serving with you.
Right then, that brings us to item number 6 under general business. On our agenda, consideration of a non-competitive economic development project funding request by the Neighborhood Medical Center Incorporated. Are there any speakers on this item?
We don't have any speakers. I believe I saw Dr. Kirksey, so he may be here if you have
Here.
questions, but he's not signed up to speak.
Okay, is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we grant the recommended option for non-competitive economic development project.
I second
Fund
that.
the neighborhood request for support.
Okay, there's a motion by Board Member Proctor, seconded by Board Member Williams Cox. Any discussion?
And just for clarification, the motion is to approve the request?
Yes.
Okay. Just because the recommended action was IA board direction, I wanted to confirm that I knew what y'all were voting on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor of the motion as stated, it signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Where is, oh, there he is. Okay. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of us. That's a pharmacy on the south side, another one.
Exactly. Another one. Absolutely. All right, that brings us to item number 7 on the agenda, consideration of a competitive economic development project proposal for Project Prestige. Are there any speakers on this item, Mr. White?
There are no speakers on this item.
Okay, no speakers on item number 7. Is there a
Chairman, I
motion?
move option 1.
Second?
Option 1 is moved by Board Member Minor, seconded by Board Member Williams Cox. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. The motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item number 8 on the agenda, which is the review of the consolidated MWSBE policy. Are there any public speakers on this item?
There are public speakers on this item.
Okay, let's take the speakers.
Mike Goldstein, name and address for the record, please.
Sure, Mike Goldstein, 914.
3 minutes.
Where's the light for the, here? The light for that one? Or?
They'll warn you at 30 seconds.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah.
all right. All right, guys. Mike Goldstein, 914 Railroad Avenue. Stanley was going to speak first, but I guess I'll go now, since you left the room earlier. So like Mayor Davis said earlier, we're not sure the future with the governor and next group of folks coming in after the election. So we should be trying to put a pause on this decision because those directions from the top could change next year for all we know. So it's something to consider as well. And a few chambers are here in the chamber, as was also alluded to. And so I guess we talked about earlier partnerships with that as far as other ways of economic development working together. Hopefully they have some thoughts on that because their members are in that category. And if there's funding to be lost, they could lose memberships, and that could cause a whole ripple effect of what this town relies on for small businesses to work together with the government entities in place. So there's just things to consider when we're thinking about these kind of changes in the future with what we've been doing with for the last 2 years in both sides of it. So I saw in the news that the county just worked on minority women in business stuff going on. So that's things in the news hitting within this week. So how do we go forward without looking back to see what happened to move on from there and work together with what could be partnerships in the future? Thank you.
Our next speaker.
Next speaker is Stanley Sims. Name and address for the record, please.
1320 Barack Obama Way. I'm here today because I don't think that enough education has been given to our community, our minority businesses, of how this affects them. In my opinion, they're wiping this away like they are treating DEI, saying that it's not necessary, that we have arrived, that no one has any prejudice, everybody is just fair. Well, this is Tallahassee, it's not heaven. I'm very concerned. Just even your conversations here today when you talk about budget issues. This budget issue came up, why? Because there was a calamity on the northeast side of town. How many calamities have I suffered on the south side of town? So our south residents have to wait until a calamity happened over here so that they can get it over there. DEI. We can publicly criticize a black attorney, but I get slapped down if I try to say something about a white county attorney. There is a need for DEI. There is a need for minority-owned businesses to receive assistance. I don't buy it. Don't buy it then, I don't buy it now, and I will not buy it tomorrow. I am concerned because we, meaning you, are not consistent with the application of policy. You have a big chair to sit in, and you have to be consistent. Because if you're not consistent, you're going to give me bad looks, you're going to roll your eyes at me, but I'm going to tell you every time, I don't think that you are consistent. Because when I point it out, maybe somebody said, well, maybe we need to bring back DEI.
That was the final speaker.
All right, that was the final speaker. Is there a motion for review of the consolidated NWSB?
So move.
There's a motion by Board Member Williams Cox. Is there a second? Seconded by Board Member Welch. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Board Member Williams Cox.
You probably won't hear this often, but I'm going to say it. Mr. Sims is right, but he's in the wrong place. Commissioner O'Keefe and I did a press conference. We've gone up to the legislature and we've said these very things to them. we are having to respond to what's happening across the street. So I encourage Mr. Sims and anybody else who feels like we feel to take it across the street. That's where it needs to go. That's where the testimony, when the time came for the testimony, that's where we went. Commissioner O'Keefe and I, we participated with a statewide press conference on this very issue. I've gone over, and I'm sure he has as well, we've gone over and we testified in committee that what they were doing here was wrong. Every year, this wasn't the first year, this was just the first year that they got some teeth. Every year we've gone over and said this. But now, maybe we can get some help across the street to help people hear us, because we knew, I had the numbers, how many businesses was going to be impacted by this and the dollar amount. And the fact that we've done the study on disparity. There is a gap. So that study and all the other things that we've done locally, our home rule has been rolled back and taken back a little at a time by that Florida legislature. My thing is we still got to keep talking about it. It doesn't take effect until January 2027. We got time to do something about it. As the mayor said, we're going to have a new governor. We may have some new people across the street, and maybe they can hear us. But it goes down to, we can talk and be irate all we want. But until we exercise our right to vote for people who represent our interests and will allow us to operate in the local like we need to operate in the local, we know our community better than they do. And until that occurs, this is what we'll be having to do. We'll be having to do these kinds of things that we don't want to do, but we have to. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Chairman, if looking at thing means anything,
Go ahead.
I'm trying to, I agree with both Commissioner Williams-Cox and all other commissioners who, for the years that we paid and wasted money for disparity studies to authorize, undergird, and permit the structuring of a MBE, WBE program. The previous item saw that we might do and bring back a look at a property owner that was sitting there and said that they had lost a little money because we were adding value to infrastructure that increases access to their business. Can we look at a proposal to bring back that create a fund for those businesses impacted here, that they too can receive and will receive financial benefits for the loss of what results from what this board's actions are? And I'd like to see and make that motion that we bring back with equal dimension a review of a policy for affected businesses that are going to be shut down, closed down, suffer, as was her words, business loss. My motion.
Is that a substitute motion, or because we've got a motion?
Yeah, substitute, Mr. Chairman, including what was that, but I move as a substitute or either as an addendum to that motion that we bring back a report to look at how do we compensate businesses that are just for no reason of their own being affected, impacted.
I was the maker of that motion, I believe. So Commissioner Proctor, well, I agree with you, and if we need to, I'm happy to accept that. But I'm looking at what the option says, to accept the informational update and direct staff to bring back a revised small business enterprise policy that complies with the state law. What would prevent that item that will come back to us from just making these businesses small businesses? Instead of minority or women only, just be small businesses.
Some of these people are not going to make the transition. Everybody didn't enter into integration with equal flair and equality of status. Some of these people will have a lot more, believe it or not, gravitas as a minority business, and they will never, ever cross the burning sands to what the small business category has represented over the years. So history has been set. It's acculturated that a small business is not women's business, blah, blah. So that's the new acculturation that has occurred over time. And the minority and women business likely be impacted. And I think that we should have in place for them a compensation pool, such as what we're contemplating with the previous item for those women and minority businesses, with which the culture of purchasing units and across the board, et cetera, it takes time for these things to evolve.
You want to make that a substitute?
Well, I was not trying to be hostile anyway to the motion.
No,
but-
I don't consider it hostile, but
Yes, sir, I will offer it, but I want to make sure that I'm not hostile to Commissioner Williams-Cox, and I agree with all of what she said, as well as other commissioners who spoke previously. So I offer that as a substitute motion.
So we've got a substitute motion. Is there a second to the substitute?
point of order. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the same thing we did with the previous exercise.
So it's not a substitute, and it's an amendment.
That works.
Yeah.
We believe, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I apologize. For the most part, women and minority businesses qualify as small businesses. So that's my level of constellation on it. You know, I agree with Mr. Sims in his presentation. You know, it's a new day. It's impactful. It's hurting. But I think if we look at the numbers, I agree with Commissioner Williams-Cox. We look at the analysis. Hopefully, Commissioner Proctor, we're not going to see a grave economic impact on women and minority businesses because they're going to fall under the small business category anyway. So that's my hope. So I think they've done a good job on this, you know, giving us numbers, categories, and I think it's incumbent upon us to look at a revised policy that's consistent with state law. We've got to be consistent. It's the law. I appreciate Commissioner Williams-Cox and Commissioner O'Keefe for going to the legislature, speaking directly to them about these issues. And I think Commissioner Proctor and some other commissioners, and we know that our staff had spoke about our concern about the DEI policy. But it is what it is. It's the law, and we want to be in compliance. But hopefully the adverse effect won't be as grave as, you know, sitting here as we anticipate. So
Well,
thank you. Thank you,
Chairman, I
Mr.
might
Chair.
follow up on the nature, Mr. Chairman, of what's so grave here is that, speaking of culture and acculturation, is that purchasing directors, if you put people in the small business category, but the language of the state is that if you hire somebody black, vendor, you've got to justify. You will discomfort the normal flow of the city's purchasing, county's purchasing, FAMU's purchasing, Florida State purchasing. They have got to validate and justify why they're using a black vendor, and it puts them on the defensive. And if I was the purchasing director, I wouldn't be bothered. I'd just get somebody white and be done and do what's right, get somebody white. But to get somebody black or a woman business, the state is projecting another burden of proof for the entity, the institutional entity, to justify and say, you're sure you want to go with them? Sure. And now that institution has got to prove to all the white businesses in the whole wide world, state of Florida, why we use these black folk. I am saying it's going to take time to acculturate and to move the needle of these formal businesses into SBE and the white world. It's just the white world has got to prove why y'all choosing them. That's a hell of a goddamn standard. And it's undeserved, it's unlawful, it violates many ideas of equal protection in these things. So this is why our consideration for the impacts of, if demonstrated, proven, however you go, the law is telling the city of Tallahassee, tell us why you chose this black business. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, to be clear, I accept the
Right.
amendment
Right.
to the motion. And
We're
I
on
don't remember
the,
who was my second.
we're on the amended motion accepted by the seconder. Is there any further discussion? Okay.
Withdraw.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
I'm going to oppose it because I will. I represent a lot of people dead who fought for this.
It's your,
Commissioner
we're
Proctor.
taking up your amended motion.
The amended
You
motion does
amended my
include your
motion.
component.
Yeah.
The motion was amended with what you asked for.
Right.
We
To
just
do
had
all
to-
those things right there and what you asked for. So you gonna oppose it?
Oh, say it again.
I can provide clarity.
Understood.
Commissioner Proctor,
Go ahead, Mr. White.
the amended motion does include the addition that you had.
Right.
We just had a substitute motion and an amended motion at the same time.
Right.
They said the same thing, but
Right.
procedurally, we just need.
And I respectfully, I'm appreciative that maker of the motion has done that. But I'm not going to support a motion that abolishes, annihilates, or kills our formal policy of MWBE. I ain't going to do that. I'm glad that for what you're doing to go forward might include the consideration of reparations for people, but I'm still not going to vote to kill nobody.
Okay, Mr. Chair, what we have here is a failure to communicate.
Yes.
So let me
No,
try.
no,
Let me go back then. So if the requester of the amended motion is going to oppose it, then I might as well go back to the original motion, and then let him do his own thing, and vote it up or down.
That's fine. I mean, everybody has to live and die by their own convictions. Yours are not mine.
Okay, there's
Mr. Chair, on
there's a-
point, I don't want to get caught up in that. What you asked for was good.
Yeah.
If you want to withdraw the amendment, that's
Amended.
fine. But Mr. Chair, I would ask that after the vote, I'll ask you to come to Commissioner Proctor so you can make the motion for what you've asked for, so we can get that passed as well, because I think what he asked for was a pretty good idea, whether this passes or not. Thank you.
I don't know why I can't ride with the motion. I understand. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've
All
done a
right,
great
so
job today, sir.
We're back on the original motion as made by Board Member Williams Cox, seconded by
Absolutely.
Board Member Welch. All in favor of the motion as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Nay, aye.
The motion passes. Okay? And so,
And I'd like to offer that motion, which previously I set for.
Restate the motion.
restate your motion.
The motion was for staff to bring back an item which contemplated economic impacts and losses resulting from this policy we've just adopted, which transfers citizens away from the old categories of minority and women enterprises, and that we contemplate a fund that will pay, remunerate those persons and businesses that have sustained losses for the change of categories and classifications of citizenship as businesses. Motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
I don't understand the motion, Mr. Chair. Could you restate the motion?
Susan, please explain that to him.
No, you're going to have to restate.
If I could provide just a little context.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
This is certainly something that we are happy to evaluate. My suspicion would be that our evaluation would say that because to be eligible for the funding, you would have to qualify previously based on gender or race, that would be in opposition to the law that passed at the state. And so I anticipate that our analysis will come back and say that it's inconsistent with SB 1134. But it is something that we're happy to look at and confirm that.
One point, Mr. Chair.
Board Member Proctor, is that consistent with what your
motion.
motion?
I defer to Commissioner Matters.
So what Commissioner Proctor is asking for is for us to get an assessment of the losses that would be incurred by those businesses that will be adversely affected through the loss of our MWBE program. That's what he's asking for. He's also asking for us to consider a fund that will make them whole within those losses. I understand what you're saying, Artie, so that may be a violation of SB, whatever it is. But my question to that is, just like everything else, if the fund is open to, it's semantics. If the fund is open to all businesses that incur losses, then it would not. But then that's what he's asking for, the analysis to come back. I understand that it may be something that we can't do, but the analysis itself is not a bad idea for us to ask for.
And that's why I said we would be happy to evaluate it, but
That's what
setting the expectations that likely might
Understood.
be.
It's the fund that goes with the analysis that may not be admissible. The analysis itself is harmless because we're just finding out what the losses are. It's the fund that's going to be the part that we have to figure out whether or not we can actually do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Board Member Matlow and then Board Member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support the motion on the table to have the analysis. And further, the law doesn't go into effect till January 27. So anything we're able to do between now and then, we do have time. If it checks all the other boxes, I don't think we're prohibited by that law of taking action to shore up businesses in the interim. Thank you.
Member Daley and then Board Member Williams-Cox.
Thank you. I will respectfully not support the motion on the table for two reasons. Number one, I agree with the staff's quick analysis that the policy that's being created will be incongruent with what the state is requiring, and we're just running in circles. Number two, if we have staff spend the time to create a fund, I truly believe, and I'm looking for the attorney's opinion on this, that is outside of the scope of blueprint, and legally we cannot do it. So for the sake of time, knowing up front that legally we cannot create a fund and that the policy would be incongruent with state law, I'm going to respectfully vote against the motion on the table.
Board Member Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would just say that hard and fast numbers were provided to me for the press conference that we participated in. And what I received was that there will be about 150 companies, and I'm looking to OEV and the MSWB director. There will be about 150 companies, and over a 3-year period, it was like $35 million. I think it was it over 3 years? The number I was given was 150 companies and $35 million. So if that's what the potential loss could be, so how do we cover that? How do we pay for that? How do we fund that? Would be my question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I understand everybody's reservations. I do think the analysis is one that we should be aware of the impact of those businesses. So that's for that reason I will be supporting it. But as I understand it, Keith, tell me if I'm wrong, all MWBEs that you guys have done analysis on qualify as SBs. Is that correct?
Commissioner Maddox, yes, all of the currently certified MWBEs are SBEs.
Right. So I'm interested to see with that analysis and what Commissioner Proctor has asked for, what is the losses incurred? How does that work? You know, what are we basing those losses off of? So I'm very interested in the analysis. Now, As far as the fund is concerned, I mean, it's a shot in the dark. If we can do it, we can. Of course, I'm sorry, Mayor Daley, you said it, and I'm almost there with you that I don't see how we can. I don't see how we can. I don't see how that works. But even if he want to take that part out or not, I'm still going to support it because I want to know and understand how it's going to affect those MWBEs that are becoming SBEs. I want to know how they're affected moving forward with the changes that we may make. I want to thank the analysis that have already been done by OEV in our MWBE department for the hard work they're putting in to help us understand this transition. But this is something I don't think anybody's asked for. How exactly will those MWBEs be affected? Because on the face of it, if you look at it, all of them are SBEs. So will they be affected? You know, how is that going to? So I'm looking forward and interested to see what that looks like. So I will be supporting the motion. Thank you.
Board Member Williams.
Mr. Chairman, to Commissioner Maddox's question, will they be affected? The challenge is, yes, they're going to be affected because the people that they once upon a time did business with now, they have to justify if they selected one of these blacks or women, why they did that, and are they discriminating against other firms? Yes. And I think that as a methodology for following this, I think that the 153 firms, 18 firms, whatever the minority numbers that were presented to us earlier, we have to follow those and track those that got paid as WMBE 1 year, 2, 3 years from now. Are they still in the business with local government? And only can do that, follow that is time, to see what time has done to collapse the engagement, the effective business interaction between current day MBEs, WBEs, and 3 years from now, all these people in the pipeline, do they still sell toilet paper to Leon County? And the only way we can do that is with time. And if there was a PhD student who was tracking the impact of anti-DEI, let's say in Leon County, Tallahassee, we already got and can identify firms. We just got to follow over time how much money did the city or the county or Blueprint rather place and do business with these firms. We see that they disappear because Blueprint has got to file a statement every time they get somebody black. They got to stand up and they can't take the fifth. They got to sign an oath and tell everybody how come you chose them. And that's a hell of a standard. It's just a hell of a standard to justify anybody black why you chose them.
Hey, Board Member Maddox, and we're going to bring this in.
Mr. Chair, I think the hardest part of the analysis is going to be the fact that you probably won't be able to calculate that number until after.
Right.
Right? So I understand that part. If that's your answer, that's your answer. I want to ask for an amendment to Commissioner Proctor's motion, and it's circling around the idea that this is going to happen. And I'm more so concerned about the capacity of our MWBEs to as they get prepared for the transition to a SBE program. So if I can we identify and start to meet with sources like FAMU, SBDC, Career Source, our microloan program, FAMU Credit Union, to talk about how we help our MWBEs get ready to build capacity to because if we don't, I think that's the last stretch of what we can do to help our MWBEs, because we don't. I'm not sure they're going to be able to compete as they fall into a SBE program instead of MWBE. So, Commissioner Proctor, what I'm asking for, to add to your motion, is that we give staff the instruction to work with our partners that can help build capacity for our MWBEs to identify a program of ways over between now and January the 1st of 27 that we can help those MWBEs build capacity, get ready to compete as can you add that?
Commissioner, there are three reasons why I'm accepting what you're saying. I respect the vision, the intellect, and the heart of your request. So there are two responses I have. First is yes, the second, hell yes.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So you're accepting the amendment to the motion?
I have two responses, yes and hell yes.
All right. So we're on the amended motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Board Member Williams-Cox.
thank you.
Board Member Meyer.
I'm waiting. Something that Commissioner Proctor said, because I think it's important that staff understands what they've been asked to do. Sounds like what Commissioner Proctor, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that, and Maddox said this as well, you won't know this until over time. So, 3 years from now, what was it? So we're not asking staff to bring something back to the next meeting. We're asking staff to do an analysis over the next few years, should this thing keep going. Because otherwise, how would we know what the impact was until we actually saw what happened as a result of this? Am I understanding that correctly?
And as the framework of that's almost a study like we used to do the disparity study. The disparity study looked back 5 years or 8 years or something. And so based on 8 years, this is why we need to continue with this. We've done that. What we've asked in the previous item was for a framework to consider a fund that addressed going forward impacts from infrastructure that Blueprint did impacted businesses. I'm asking for a framework to come back to us. A framework is merely contemplative. It's hypothetical, but a framework that we might look at to also look at the impacts for. And it may not be, drawdown may not occur until 2 years or 3 years, whatever you prove as I was hurt, I'm injured. I had a contract with the city from 2018, 20, 21, 22, and then I went to SBE, and hell, I don't eat no more. I don't get paid no more. I can prove that I was a vendor for 7 years. Then I became an SBE, and I there's no movement. That's the stuff that we got to be able to look at.
All right. All in favor of the, oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just really quickly, I think the discussion's been a really good one. I plan to support the motion. I wanted to point out, and I think we've all seen this before, but I just want to reiterate, the Tallahassee metro area is ranked 14th in the nation in the amount of percent of Black-owned businesses nationwide. We've said that before, but I just want to point that out. So there's been some tremendous work done over the years. Mr. Darrell Jones and the team at OEV have done a tremendous job in that area. And that's a testament to him, to all of us, to our staff, and I just want to point that out. I don't know what the future holds, but I want to recognize the good work that's been done to this point. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All in favor of the amended motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay. So the motion carries with one objection by the mayor. Okay. All right. That brings us then now to item number 9, the approval of the resolution for acquisition of property by eminent domain for the Airport Gateway project. Are there any public speakers on this item?
There are no public speakers on this item.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move staff recommendation.
There's a motion by Board Member Maddox to adopt staff recommendations, second by Board Member Welch. Are there any questions, concerns, discussion? Here, Board Member
Yes, sir.
Caban.
Just a quick question for staff. This is for the eminent domain on properties on the Spring Hill Road portion of the Airport Gateway, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, what was, I couldn't hear you. What was asked?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I asked if this was for the portion of the Spring Hill Road portion of the project.
Is that from Orange up to Capitol Circle, Mr. Chairman, may I ask? When you say Spring Hill Road, what are we talking about?
Chairman. Yes, Commissioner, as part of that segment.
What is the proposed modification?
The property that we're
Eminent domain.
looking at acquiring is specifically for the bridge over Munson Slough.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We had a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The motion carries unanimously. And that brings us to director discussion.
There's one more item.
One more.
Oh, 10. I was right there at it. Okay. So we're on item number 10, approval of a resolution for acquisition of property by eminent domain for the Northeast Corridor Connector, Bannerman Road project. As a motion by Board Member Welch to approve staff recommendation on this item. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Daley. Is there any discussion, questions, comments, concerns?
Mr. Chairman, I did have one. Previously, I stated 2 black churches on Bannerman Road indicated that the white churches had 2 entrances, both coming east, you could turn into the white churches, and coming, going west, you could turn. And the black churches indicated to me on Bannerman Road that their entrance was only from one direction. And I can't remember what staff person I asked, but has there been any dialogue with those churches or modifications of the plans that there was access both coming and going in front of those African-American churches? And or have we structured a directional inequality into the engineering of people not being able to access those churches? And it's different on the basis of black church, white church. That's my ask.
Yep, we've had a communication with both of those churches, and we actually have reached an agreement on the acquisition for both of those churches. So we have an agreement in place with both churches. To answer your question about the access, there will be a median that's constructed on Bannerman Road in front of those churches. But we have reached an agreement with them.
Well, do all churches have the same entrance? I mean, I quite understand. I was just asking, can you get to the church coming this way and coming this way?
Yeah, the decision, the engineering decisions for access and whether or not there's a turn lane on a median is not based on whether it's a church necessarily. It's based on the amount of traffic that's generated by the use on that property. So if you have a neighborhood like Clarn Lakes that has a lot of homes behind it, then something like that would generate the need for a turn lane. Versus other uses may not generate the amount of traffic that necessitates a turn lane. And the distance between those turn lanes, so if you have a residential neighborhood that has a lot of homes in it, and that is a turn lane, you have to make sure that the property next to it that might desire a turn lane has a safe distance to be able to accommodate the cars for a turn lane that has more activity on it. So we're looking at all sorts of safety reasons for determining turn lanes.
So the short point, as I leave here with the understanding and my future interaction with those churches, is that those black churches have been structured with only one access from one direction to get there. That's right. Is that accurate?
For those 2 churches, that's correct, but there are other churches along the corridor, there at least one other church along the corridor that also does not have full access.
Okay. I brought to staff's awareness on concerns that I've had, and I know we get into commissioners' discussion. I'll lift the other concern up at that time. I'm disappointed that that remains the case. And I don't know the Florida statutes which determine what churches can get two accesses and which churches don't. But I think I heard you use the word demand. And I don't know how you determine what's meaningful enough demand. And if you measure it by Sunday morning observations or that little thing in the road that captures how many people pull in this driveway between 9 and 11 o'clock, I don't know. But I am somehow concerned that those distinctions exist. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion on the floor, seconded. Board Member Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple questions. Do any of these actions impact building structures, homes, businesses?
You're asking if any impacts will be to structures? No, these are all primarily strip takes along the front of the property. There are no like residential or business relocations that are necessitated.
Okay. And the larger triangles, is that for stormwater?
There is one stormwater facility that is included in this, and that is a large piece of property.
Okay.
That's on a, yeah.
I'm just looking at this map that has two different pieces of property. Is that all stormwater?
Yeah, which map?
It's page, doesn't have a page. It's the very last page of my book.
That's one parcel with, there's a stormwater that's already on the front of that property that will be expanding and take over the maintenance of that stormwater facility. And then in the back, we'll be building.
And for these, I think it's 84 property owners, have conversations already began? Have we already had responses, lack of responses? What's the communication to date been?
Well, there's been a substantial amount of public engagement on the project as a whole for several years. We've attended a lot of Northside Get Down, or events up there in the Bannerman Crossing area, as well as individual meetings with homeowners and neighborhood associations along the way. We have, I think Meg, would you mind speaking a little bit to the conversations we've had with the parcel? Megan is the project manager.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the majority of those parcels, the conversations and negotiations have been ongoing with some of those property owners. In fact, I think 12 of those parcels we actually have agreements on. There are just issues that cannot be resolved through any other means than court proceedings via eminent domain.
Okay. And when you say majority, are there property owners on there that we haven't had any conversation with? Are there anybody on this list, I guess, who have no awareness that this vote could be happening today, who are unaware that their property is scheduled for acquisition?
Well, as Autumn mentioned, we've done extensive community outreach out there, and notices to owners have been provided to the majority of the property owners. Not all of them have received notice to owners yet.
Okay.
But there has been an effort to get out there and talk to folks and let them know the project is coming.
Okay, thank you. Decline to support this motion today. I do support moving forward with this project at the point we're at. I don't like being in a position where we're asked to take the drastic step of granting eminent domain authority if there's people who don't even know that they're scheduled, and being able to review the lines and had a conversation previously. I would hope that that step could happen in advance of this decision. I don't want someone to come and say, I had no idea my property was even up for acquisition. I have this part of my property I have a concern with. Like, those are things I would like to know up front before we take this action. If it came back at a future meeting or not, just for me personally, I like to know those communications because I never want to vote for something and then get beat up on the back end. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All in favor of the motion as been moved? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like
Aye.
Nay.
the Board Member Porter, are you in favor or against? Board Member Porter?
I voted aye, affirmative.
Aye. There's one against. All
Before
right.
you move to
Yeah.
motions, we did have the one speaker.
Right.
You want to take it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
You wanna call the speaker?
Gloria Anderson. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Gloria Jefferson Anderson. I live at P.O. Box 5412, Tallahassee. I'm standing here today as president of the now abandoned New Hope Cemetery at Testarina on Miccosukee Road. I have today with me few of the descendants who have ancestors buried in that cemetery along with me. The abandoned New Hope Cemetery is located on the grounds of Weelani Plantation, formerly Fleshman Plantation. This sacred site is currently abandoned and neglected, leaving the final resting places of these fundamental families vulnerable to the elements and future development. I'd like to say I'd like to stop and thank the Blueprint for what they have done for us, because we did get a small grant that ended in December, and we're waiting for the final report. We are the descendants of the slave families who were brought from President Thomas Jefferson's Poplar Forest Estate in Virginia, and with other planters to Leon County nearly 200 years ago. We represent the families of the Jeffersons, the Hemings, the Whales, the Bonds, the Hughes, the Austin, the Browns, and many more. We are not a hypothetical piece of history. We are a living legacy of the forced migration that built early Tallahassee. When Thomas Jefferson's grandson, Francis F. VII, migrated here in late 1820s to establish his plantations, he did not clear the land alone. He brought our ancestors here with him. Their uncompensated labor generated the wealth that allows EPS to help fund Florida State University and the St. John Episcopal Church. Many of those very ancestors who survived the trauma of the Deep South Cotton Frontier now rest eternally in the abandoned New Hope Cemetery at Weelani. The burial ground is sacred. It stands as a physical archive of our survival, our family lines, and the literal building of Leon County. As infrastructure, development, and planning decisions move forward through Blueprint, the physical protection and legal preservation of historic African-American burial ground like New Hope cannot be treated as an afterthought. We have formally submitted a joint demand for historical accountability, genealogical research support, and preservation resources from the Thomas Jefferson Foundation, the Corporation of Poplar Forest, FSU, and St. John's Episcopal Church. We'd like to formally introduce.
Expired.
Okay. Sanderson, if you could, you're at 3 minutes.
Wrap it up.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm about to, that's it right there. But anyway, finally, we are asking the board to continue to use its power of planning and oversight and resources to help us with this historic cemetery.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Anderson. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, can I just record my vote from the last vote as a yes?
All right, that brings us into the last item on the agenda, which is director discussion. Is there any discussion? Board Member Minor, I saw your
Thank
up.
thank you,
and
Mr.
we'll come to
Yes, sir.
Board Member Proctor and Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would you like me to make a motion first or to have a discussion? Yeah, that's our county policy. So I'd like to make a, I'd like to make a motion to direct OEV to evaluate the EDA's AI Upskill Accelerator Grant Program, and then to serve as a lead applicant if there's a viable way to meet the required match. So let me explain what that motion's about, if I can get a second for discussion.
Is there a motion? Second to the motion. Okay.
Thank you,
Second by
ma'am.
Board Member Cummings.
Okay, so AI provides some extraordinary benefits, but I'm very concerned about how it could affect the incomes of Tallahassee families over the next few years. The CEO of Anthropic says, and I quote, "Half of all entry-level white-collar jobs could be eliminated by AI, and unemployment could rise to 10 to 20% within 5 years." He said that a year ago. Microsoft's AI chief says that AI can replace every white-collar job in 18 months. And his quote is, we're going to have human level performance on most, if not all, professional tasks, end quote. He said that 4 months ago. So nobody knows if these predictions are going to be correct. They might be exaggerations. Let's just say it's not 50%. It's not as high as they say. Let's just assume that maybe it's 10% of the white-collar workforce that could lose their jobs. In our community, that would mean 17,000 workers would be out of work. These people who have invested for years in their education, their careers, only to find that their skills are no longer needed. Even if it's just 10%, we'd be facing an unprecedented disruption in our local workforce. So job loss due to AI could be an even bigger issue than the data centers that the County Commission started to discuss at our meeting the other day. But there's something we can do about it. The US EDA has announced a new grant opportunity that will train workers in the use of AI. These workers wouldn't be replaced by AI, but instead they would have AI skills training that would allow them to help retain their jobs, create new jobs in this area, and just as important, it would help existing businesses be able to use AI with their workers in a way that keeps them competitive and helps grow their businesses in this new AI-enabled world. Several weeks ago, local business leaders, higher ed leaders, and I met to discuss the grant, and there's a strong consensus amongst this group that applying for these funds is a smart idea. Tallahassee State College, if you know, they are a national leader in incorporating AI skills training into their curriculum. The Appalachian Regional Planning Council has also been part of this discussion. They are very much excited about the opportunity to apply for the grant. The ARPC is an organization that works very closely with the EDA on a regular basis on these types of grants, not AI necessarily, but just EDA economic development type grants. They are willing to lend their assistance on grant writing to help with the application. The Big Bend Minority Chamber has also endorsed the idea of us applying for this because they see the value in doing so. There's a 40% required match. And so my motion also authorizes OEV to identify up to $500,000 to serve as a match should the grant be awarded. Now, the important thing to note is that in-kind resources are allowed to count towards that 40% match. TSC, as I already said, has done an incredible amount of work in AI skills development. We can use some of their resources they've already invested as part of that 40% match. So listen, AI is here to stay. As surely as the sun will rise tomorrow, AI will impact our lives and our work. Let's take as a first step, let's help our community prepare for what's likely to come. 2 or 3 years from now, I want every single one of us to be able to look back at today and say that this is the first step we took to help our workforce, to help Tallahassee families find ways to live in this new AI world by learning those skills and actually becoming more valuable to their businesses as opposed to being displaced by them. So my motion is basically to have OEV evaluate the grant program, authorize it up to $500,000 as a match, using, as makes sense, in-kind contributions from TSC and others. And the due date is July 10th for this grant. EDA purposely made the grant window very small because it's highly competitive. But that's my motion, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any questions? Commissioner or Board Member Williams Scott? And Board Member Bain.
My question is up to $500,000 from OEV. And we're learning about this now, today, when we're talking about budgets for doing a lot of things. I'm just concerned that, not that I disagree, my background is technical, it is IT. So I understand where we're headed with AI, but I'm just not sure that we can afford to provide this match right now to do this. And I'm looking down there at Keith, because I'm sure you didn't just hear about it. So just you know, $500,000. I just heard that. So I'm just trying to understand. Do we have this available? And of course, I'm sure it's a part of the target industries because it's technology, but you need some more information.
Well, Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
So you're right. We haven't programmed this funding or anticipated any type of allocation for this in our current budget. We'd have to analyze that and see if there are some areas where we could possibly use it as a match. But as it stands right now, our policies and programming and budgeting is all predicated on job creation, capital investment, and paying those wages at a higher than are currently earned right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is what our budget is programmed to facilitate: recruitment, expansion projects that demonstrate that they have the capacity for the capital investment, job creation, and then it's based on a reimbursement basis. After they've proven that they have made the capital investment, created the jobs at those levels, then we reimburse them for ad valorem taxes and tangible personal property taxes. So what we have currently in our program, we'd have to see if there are some funds that you could earmark or allocate and see if it would be applicable and aligned with the grant that Commissioner Minor is suggesting.
Thank you for that. And it also kind of concerns me that we're asking to be the lead, but this body is just not hearing about this, and I'm not sure what that means. As the mayor has said, we have other community partners that might be better suited for this. You know, the chamber, we have 3 chambers. Those chambers could possibly be the lead, could be the ones to do this, and not necessarily this body. Because as you said, we're usually dealing with reimbursement for something along these lines instead of being out there leading the effort. So I don't have enough answers. The timeline is very short. You know, we don't meet again until September 24, and July 10th is just a couple of weeks away. I'm just not real comfortable. That makes me kind of make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, literally, to say we're going to charge out here and do this. So that's where I am right now.
Board Member Minor, and then we're going to take a vote on it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've had discussions with all 3 chambers on this, and as well as TSC. Initially, TSC had offered to be the lead applicant. However, they've got another EDA application that is almost being finalized and being sent. And so they decided rightly that having the same organization apply for 2 EDA grants could undermine the success of both. So this motion is having OEV explore the viability of doing this and granting up to 500. We could reduce that if you like. But again, a portion of this, perhaps all of it, could come from TSC's investment already with in-kind sources. I will say, though, based on the advice that we've gotten, that the more in-kind resource you have as part of that match, it does affect your chance of success. So I think this is a serious problem. Again, we're talking about 50% of, you have AI tech experts, the CEOs are saying that the numbers could be incredibly high in terms of disrupting our workforce. Even if it's nowhere near that high, we're still looking at a likely significant disruption in our employment rate. So I think this is a good way for us to explore the idea. We can give OEV the judgment on being able to do this. They've got to determine if either future opportunity leveraging fund or some other fund might be available, mixing it with TSC's in-kind contribution and making that judgment call. I do think this is a really important issue for us to deal with. I know it's a short notice, but I can't speak with everybody outside of a public meeting because of the Sunshine Law. This is our first opportunity to do so. But I urge you all to think about it. We can give OEV the judgment and the ability to decide on their own if this is something that's viable. I think that if it is, it's the kind of thing where 2 or 3 years from now, I want each and every one of us to be able to say that we did everything we could. And this is the first step towards doing that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, as Vice Chairman, I'd like to say I support it. As Vice Chairman, I support the measure and encourage all others to support it.
Is there anyone else who wanted to speak on this motion?
Yes,
Board Member O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Normally, I like things like this and jumping on it, but I cannot support this for a couple of reasons. If we make the Neighborhood Medical Center come through 2 meetings for less than $500,000, and we make Foodies go through 2 meetings for less than $70,000, I don't think we should hurry up and let OEV have commit up to $500,000 on a program that doesn't fit into our strategic initiatives. The other thing is, too, is now, and I'm going to call these large language models because they are not actually artificial intelligence. The way I look at this U.S. Department of Commerce grant, this is a promotion for those companies. They issued this grant 30 days before the deadline, and they're just doing scare tactics that all these experts who own the companies are telling us are going to take all the jobs are the same ones telling us they're going to do it. And reports coming out of new company files, SEC filings are showing that investments in AI are going backwards because they cost more than employees. I say all that to say, I do not support fast-tracking a half-page AI 30-day grant initial from the feds when it doesn't fit doesn't fit what we do, and we put a lot of things that fit our programs through their paces. Thank you.
Board Member Matlow, Board Member Proctor, did you want to?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I was just asking. We on that motion right there, on his motion? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, because I have to go up, ask our at-large county commissioner to speak for me on I've told you earlier that I had to go to Mr. Jones's.
When it's my turn, I'll bring up his issue.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Chair.
Further discussion on the motion. Board Member Cummings?
Yes, yes, Mr. Chair, thank you so much. I second the motion from Commissioner Minor for purposes of discussion, and I appreciate him bringing this forward to us. I think we should take advantage of any opportunities that we can to, train workforce, get information, especially knowing that AI is the wave of the future. But I guess my hesitation, Commissioner Minor, is hearing from our OEV director that says, we just don't have $500,000. I'm leery about giving them that latitude to do that type commitment. Now, your motion says $500,000. Is there any leeway for it to be less than that, if I can ask them, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am. Are you talking about the motion specifically in terms of the maximum amount? Because I'd be willing to do that.
That's the maximum. Do we know the minimum amount?
Let me reiterate. So Tallahassee State College has already made a lot of it. They're a national leader when it comes to AI training. They've invested quite a bit of money already into their efforts. So that 40% match, a portion of that, all of that, could be perhaps used by the in-kind contribution from TSC. So when I say 5,000, that'd be the maximum amount authorized. It could be less. We could go to 250 and require TSC to contribute the rest. Be less than that. And again, if we get the grant, we have the ability then to start training AI workers so that they can keep their jobs and grow more jobs in this community. If we don't get the grant, that money that was identified for this grant is available for whatever use we're going to have for it anyway. eventually. So I understand the short notice on this, and this was by design, right? The 40% match is by design because these are highly competitive. You've got people across the nation that are applying for these, but the benefit of applying for these funds and getting them is helping our families develop the skills that they need to keep their jobs. And even if we don't get the grant, going through the exercise of identifying the labor force that's ready for training, delivering that training through TSC or FSU or FAMU, and then having a business community that is ready and able to take those newly trained workers, put them to work using AI to make their businesses more successful so that we have a more vibrant, more competitive business community here. All those are good things. Going through that exercise of applying for this application in and of itself is a benefit. So I know it's short. I know we haven't talked about this before. But I think we've got the ability to give OEV the wherewithal with as much as you all to say that you need in terms of 250, 200,000, whatever, and then the rest be in kind. We could do that. But I think this is an opportunity for us to take a solid step toward helping our workforce avoid what many say could be a very disruptive couple of years. And I hear what O'Keefe is saying about, Commissioner O'Keefe, about the big tech players having some skin in the game. Listen, the AI is here. What are we going to do to prepare our business community and our workforce for it being here in a way that helps them, that mitigates the negative effects as much as possible in this area? I want us to be doing everything we can as commissioners, as blueprint directors, to look under every stone, to turn every opportunity into a potential win for us so that we can protect our business community and our workforce. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mr. Chair.
I have follow-up. That was he was answering my question, I suppose, Mr. Chair.
Board member.
Okay, no, and just very brief. I think this would be a great opportunity, but then again, I'm still leery if we can't give OEB authorization for expenditures when they're sitting here and say, it's just not there. So is there a compromise, or is there a way we could modify the motion excluding that 500,000 with directions to OEB to explore this? I don't know if they would have an opportunity to come back to the board. We meet again within September. The deadline for the application is July the 10th.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it would be viable if we could give them authority to please, apply, look into it without that $500,000, because we don't have it. Some other number that our director can say he feels comfortable with, and it's not an expenditure, it's just matching, depending on the level of the application and the level, if we are successful, that would need to be used as match. I'm wondering, is the way your motion can be modified where that $500,000 can be excluded and somehow or reduced?
Mr. Chair, I think I can read the room. One thing we could do to modify the motion is to not have any monetary funding in the match. What that would require would be for us working with Tallahassee State College to have the full 40% match from in-kind sources that TSC and perhaps other partners have already donated. We could do that. Based on our discussions that we've had with experts on EDA grants, that does reduce significantly the chances of us getting the award. But I'll leave it up to the board here. If there's not enough support to have any monetary amount in the 40% match, I'd rather go for it than not. I just think the chances of us getting the grant award would be much less if we had the entire 40% match as in-kind only. That in-kind match element to this grant and many other EDA grants is mainly used to help out with rural communities that don't have hardly any monetary budget whatsoever. And so we're not a rural community. So it probably would hinder our ability to get the grant award, but I don't want to not apply for this. And so if the directors here are uncomfortable with any amount, being monetary, I'd be willing to modify my motion to be that 40% match as fully in kind.
Is there a desire to have Board Member Minor?
Mr. Chair,
If we're not expending money, I'll support it.
Mr. we-
Board Member?
we're not sending money, but we're expending money because we're asking staff
Yes.
that we're paying to do this, to complete this application, to do this, along with all the other stuff we've asked them to do today. And then we're not going to come back to review what they've put together. We obviously, when we review what they bring to us, we still have issues with it. So I see the potential merit in it. I'm just thinking that this is not the body. Is what I'm thinking. This is not the body where the county could do it, the chambers could do it, the universities could do it. Blueprint, I don't think is the body to do that with small staff, with the things that we already have them doing. To hustle and get it done by July 10th, which is less than a month, 29 days, whatever.
Yeah. Mr. Mike.
Sorry to interrupt.
We're going to take the vote on this motion.
For clarification, Commissioner Minor, when you say no cash match, you're referring to Blueprint and OEV specifically, but if we had a partner that wanted to supply, that would be okay? Or?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
I was just
No, that's a good point. That's it. And then let me address Commissioner Williams-Cox's comments. I said this during my comments, but it may not have hit. OEV would not be the only person working on the application. We've met with Tallahassee State College. Tallahassee State College, as I said before, had actually planned to be the lead applicant and had started working on the grant. They have offered the ability to assist, doing whole sections of the grant application. The Appalachia Regional Planning Council helps with grant writing for EDA grants on a regular basis. They also, their executive director has offered to do sections of the grant application. So it's not just OEV doing this. OEV would be the lead, but we would rely heavily on other partners that have already expressed their support of this idea and their support of lending grant writing assistance to OEV.
Point of clarification?
All right.
Mr. Chair, I've been waiting in the queue also on this item.
Mr. Chair, I'll take your direction. If you want to vote, we vote. If not, I got points of
Yeah,
clarification.
let's go ahead and take the vote
I have a question for the attorney.
for the attorney
Yes.
on this item.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Since I serve on the District Board of Trustees for TSD, do I have a conflict on this? Even though I don't get a personal gain?
I think in an abundance of caution, you should refrain from voting.
Mr. Chair, let me modify my motion really quickly. Let me take out the $500,000 monetary match from OEV. There may be another partner that'd be willing to contribute some of that, but that would be handled through other sources, either through in-kind at TSC or other sources. So I'll remove that part of my motion.
Mr. Meyer, can I take a stab at something I think may pass as I listen to everybody? I think the cash is part of the problem, but as I listen to, I think the way it's worded is a part to it. I think if you were to word it in a way that allows us to partner with those entities that are already interested, with no obvious lead, that they would work together, that we would work together with those partners that are already interested, and that we would help them identify the $500,000 without a monetary commitment from us because we don't have the money. I think that the reservation is that we're taking lead without knowing what staff is bringing back. You understand? It's like very much like if we were to end a commission meeting. I don't think there's anybody in here that this would have been brought up at the end of our commission meeting that would have said yes to this on the spot without an agenda item coming back. Because there's just so many variables involved. So,
So the lead applicant is a technical term. I mean, you have to put one entity on the person on the application. But I'm happy to rephrase the motion so it's a partnership. It may, Commissioner Maddox, it may in the end be OEV that has its name on the lead applicant field, but it's definitely I could rephrase the motion so that it's a partnership among these. That partnership can decide who the best entity is to serve as the term lead applicant and go forward with that.
So is that your modified?
That's my modified motion.
Okay, you accept the
A question. With that, why then could the county just not do it? Why does it have to be OEV or Blueprint? Why could it not be, well, we're not meeting until after July 10th.
There's not enough time.
Blueprint is not meeting until after July 10th.
There's not enough time for me today.
This is not enough time.
I understand that.
All right, we've got
Okay,
a
all
modified
right.
motion on the floor, seconded by Board Member Cummings. Any further discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? The modified motion signify by saying aye.
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 I abstain.
Nay.
Okay. The attorney asked for a roll call. Do a roll call vote.
Mayor Daley,
Yeah, he's out of town.
Commissioner Matlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Porter,
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams-Cox,
Nay.
Commissioner Caban,
Abstain.
Commissioner Cummings, Commissioner Maddox,
Aye.
Commissioner Minor,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Keefe,
Nay.
Commissioner Welch,
And the motion passes.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. All right, so we're moving on. We've got some additional speakers. Board Member Matlow, you're in the queue, followed by Board Member Maddox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two items, and I'll just present them quickly. One, we talked earlier about Tharp Street prioritization and its completion date. My recollection of this item from 23 was similar, that we were moving towards a 2028 beginning and 2030 completion. But I want to bring back an item to discuss the priorities of these projects. I understand that takes a substantial amendment, but I also want to look at the historic priority of Tharp Street. When I first joined this board in 2018, Orange Avenue was ranked number 1. Tharp Street, I believe, was ranked number 2. And those projects were then skipped over by the Northeast Gateway. And we were told, well, it wasn't re-ranked, but we had advanced funding for the Northeast Gateway. So that's why that project is being built first. So it seemed to be historically, as long as the project was fully funded, we could construct it no matter what the priority rank was by a simple majority. So just a general review of Tharp Street's history. My end goal is to ask for a vote to see where we need to get to fully fund this project as quickly as possible. That would be the objective of the item. But I'll make a motion that we bring back the Tharp Street prioritization at the next meeting.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
Second, are there any questions? Board Member Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Matlow, just so you know, and since we talked about this last, the county administrator said that he sent an email that it's under that's his recollection that Tharp Street is still fully funded, and that there may be some confusion amongst the previous version of the project, which was not fully funded, and then this version, which he claims is still fully funded. So I think that I support the motions. That way we could clear up any miscommunication that may be going on related to the Tharp Street corridor.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor of the motion, as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And my second item, I wanted to bring an item back as related to AI data centers to see how they fit into our targeted industries of applied sciences and innovation and professional services and information technology. My view is we should not look to any type of incentives for AI data centers through Blueprint, but the conversation would just revolve around defining what an AI data center is and are they eligible for funding under our targeted industries.
Second.
Motion and a second. Board Member Williams-Cox.
Based on the information we received last evening, regarding our land use, comp plan, and all of those things, it's my understanding that data centers cannot happen here. So, of course, if they cannot happen based on our current ordinances and land use and comp plan, then of course we wouldn't be looking to lure any of them here for funding. So I guess I'm trying to understand what's the intent here?
Sure,
I mean, I know I hear it, but we already were told last night, not only in the city but the county as well, because of what we already have on the books.
And just for clarification, this would be blueprint specific about where we're able to allocate funds for these types of data centers. The city nor the county have a definition on the books and their land development codes of what entails a large-scale data center. The information we got from our staff in September of 2025 laid out the process of ordinance changes or creating a plan unit development that could allow for a data center. So there's very much a process that they can't happen. My understanding is that the county has a moratorium to review their codes. The city doesn't have anything on the books, rejected a ban, but this is specifically to funding in the event that they are allowed in the county or they are allowed in the city, whether they would be able to seek OEV funding to create AI data centers.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Tedder is here, and I don't know if he is in a position to speak to this, but I don't want us to go round and round in a circle. I don't want to send staff round and round in a circle. Either we have it on the books or we don't. So if there's someone here who can, Wayne or planning director, somebody who can I want to put this to rest here, if we can.
Before Wayne speaks, I actually have an amendment, Mr. Chair, that would totally change all of this. The maker of the motion asked that we ask whether or not it can be funded through Blueprint. And as I watched the meeting last night, I watched some of the meeting last night from the city, and I think one of the words that the city manager used was yet, as of yet.
Currently was the word.
Currently,
because that's what's currently on the books.
Currently, as of yet, same thing, which means that it could happen in the future.
No.
I will ask the maker of the motion to amend his motion to clarify that OEV funds cannot, for staff to bring back an agenda for us to consider with policy that states that OEV funds cannot be used to fund data centers. That would be my amendment that I would ask for from the maker of the motion.
Accepted.
I would still, in discussion, I would still like to hear from our staff, city staff, as well as Blueprint staff, as to where we are on that. Because we, sitting around this table, we're having this conversation, but people who will be listening and watching may not be up to speed on some of these things. And I just want to make sure we're crystal clear as much as we can be. And I don't like the going back and forth that, the word was currently. Well, everything that we have is current until we change it. And, we changed the land use and comp plans. We have a process. So, Mr. Chair, if you're okay.
Address.
Wayne or the planning director, whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike actually wrote the memo, but, the short answer is they're not allowed within the city code or the comprehensive plan. It's our understanding that they're not allowed either in the county, unincorporated areas of the county. And as such, if they're not allowed, there's no incentive that could be applied to a use that's not allowed by code.
Yeah, the only thing I would say to that is that just as in the city and the county, because they're not allowed, it would take specific action from either the city commission to amend the land development code to allow it, or we referenced plan unit development that would require, could potentially allow one that would require specific action by either the city commission or the county commission. So without specific action by the city commission or the board of county commissioners allowing that to occur, they're not allowed.
So to follow up, I'm sorry if I could continue, because I asked them to speak. So anything could change, but it would take a body, whoever that body might be at that time, to change it. But what we're saying is, with where we are right now, we're not saying that it could never ever happen, because who knows what happens way out in the future, long after we're gone. But what we're saying is that It is not an allowable use. And so based on what we already have on the books, so why send them through this exercise of doing this? I'm just real protective of staff's time because we give them we just tell them to go do this, go do that, and then when they bring it back, we chew it up and spit it out. So why send them in that circle when we already have stop gaps to prevent it from happening, and they're going to abide by what we have on the books, and they're going to abide by our direction.
Mr. Chair, can I follow up? Thank you. And Mr. Alfano, and I appreciate your clarification because I think this was the source of confusion at our city commission meeting. They're not defined currently, so you wouldn't automatically permit one, but one could be brought for a land use change or a PUD. What was contemplated last night and rejected by the city commission was to affirmatively outright ban them by ordinance and in our land development code. So as of today, is there an outright ban on data centers in the city code?
There's not an outright ban because they're not an allowed use.
Sure.
Yeah.
Other communities around Florida have put in outright bans in their ordinances, Jackson County and other cities. So that's the conversation we're having at the city. But this isn't a city conversation. This is just about how our economic development dollars are spent. If nobody will ever apply because they can't be built, fantastic. But this would just be our body since we have specific categories that are focused on information technology and innovation to explicitly, as Commissioner Maddox said, just ban them from being eligible for funding here at OEB.
Mr. Chair. Okay, Board Member Maddox, and then we're going to take a vote on
I'm confused because as I see it, there's at least two.
No, those are not, those data centers, regional data centers have been here forever. Northwest Regional Data Center, that's where, and I know this because I'm IT and I'm a programmer. So what those data.
I'm speaking, first of all. Secondly, if you want to clarify, that's fine, but I'm not arguing with you. What I'm saying to you is that there's no data, you said there's no data centers.
AI.
There are two. Now, they're not, you said they're not regional data centers, but there are data centers here, which means that, now, clarification, I don't even need clarification. It could be semantics in the fact that we don't have regional data centers, but there are data centers here. So to say there aren't any is not true. There are two. Now, if it's not in the land development code, which means that you said it's not permitted in Leon County or the city of Tallahassee, but we do have centers here. I don't need you to stand up. I don't need to hear nothing. All I'm saying is the conversation that we're having here, and that I think Commissioner Matlow is saying, is that in the future, policy could change, land code could change, that allows it. Right now, land code and policy doesn't. Here today, if we were presented with the opportunity to fund a data center, there's no policy that we have here, Madam Attorney, that says that this board does not fund data centers. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All I asked the maker of the motion to do is ask for an agenda item that gives us the consideration to mimic what city policy, county policy, and land use says, is that we cannot have data centers. All I'm asking is for consideration for this board for an agenda item to say that also we won't fund data centers with OEV money. And that I'm not
arguing.
I'm asking for consideration.
I'm not arguing, and I apologize if that's the way it came across. Let me just mention that, yes, we do currently have data centers, and I'm only saying that because I have experience in working with those data centers. Those data centers are used right now primarily to store data, to process data that we have in the region, the Northwest Regional Data Center, that we have several in the state of Florida. But those data centers are not what we're referring to here. These are different types of data centers that we're talking about here. And while other cities and counties may not have had anything on the books to prevent this, we already have something in place to prevent it. And if we want to do more. But I'm saying that as leaders, we don't have to follow what others are doing because we've already provided for it. And even though you vote on a ban right now, another body could come along and remove it.
Well,
and do whatever. So I'm just saying we don't have a need for it now. But if you want to do it, do it. But just to be clear to those who are watching, we do not have the ability without what we have on the books now to do that. But Carry on.
Stan, did you address this?
I'm prepared to vote on the item.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got a motion, we've got a second. We're going to take a vote. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Aye.
Oh, in your eye.
Motion carries with Board Member Williams Cox and myself. Okay. Board Member Maddox, do you?
First of all, Commissioner Proctor's issue, he said that folks can't make a left turn into the South Side Cemetery, and that's a problem with the construction that we have going on Capitol Circle. So can you have staff look into that and make sure that those left turns are clear for people to make as they're going towards the airport from Southwood area?
I've had a funeral director bring that to my attention.
So staff can do something about that.
I can provide an update.
Okay.
Thank you, directors. This is something that Commissioner Proctor brought to our attention. He sent me a memo and quickly elevated it to the Florida Department of Transportation, as they're the ones managing the project, to confirm there was some confusion about that, kind of, especially with the Mother's Day holiday that passed and then the upcoming Father's Day. And so we reached out to the Department of Transportation, kind of confirmed what the situation is now, as well as what the ultimate build-out would look like. And they did confirm that there is a median there, and that you would need to proceed to Lake Bradford Road. That is a signalized intersection with a turn lane, so it provides a much safer turning option. But because there was confusion for Mother's Day, that they would be putting up signage to indicate that that's how you make that movement for Father's Day, to avoid those future concerns. But once it's constructed, there will be a median there, and you will need to go, it's about a third of a mile beyond to do a protected turn at Lake Bradford to access that cemetery.
Appreciate it. Second thing, I want to, before I get to my two issues I want to evaluate about OEV, I want to take the opportunity to apologize to the board and to Commissioner Williams Cox. My tone was a little off too.
It's okay, we're passionate.
We are, but you know, when it comes to those data center issues, man, that thing gets me because I don't think the folks who are going to be affected by it most in the communities where they're being placed understand the harm that it's going to do to them. And so I would like to take every measure that we got and we can to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make it, I'm going to say it out loud, harder for them to come here. And so I apologize to you for my tone. So I want to get
Likewise,
that out. Yes, ma'am. Two issues. OEV, evaluate two issues for me. The first one is the LEAP program being funded through OEV. I think it's a good program for us to consider. Bring back an analysis, but this wouldn't be in the current budget. It would be in next year's budget consideration.
Second.
And just to keep you taking both together. The second is for staff to bring us back evaluation of the Jacksonville, and Boynton Beach has one too, small business capital access program for us to consider for programming for the 27, I guess, fiscal year. That'd be my motion.
So those are included?
Yes, just to bring back agenda items that evaluates those two programs.
Okay.
Say what LEAP is?
LEAP is the Leon Entrepreneurship and Adversity Program. What it does is it takes those folks who may be disadvantaged, and it teaches them how to become entrepreneurs. They've created 46 businesses since, I think, like last 2 or 3 years. I asked Ms. Lixon how many are still in existence. That's the Jim Moran. Yeah, Jim Moran. All of them are still going, so it's a pretty good program. We sponsored it. I just wanted to be a formal part of what we do.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Finally, I'll say, Mr. Chair, I think this board is very passionate. I think we should be about the money that we're spending and the way that we're going about spending our dollars. for our community. And at times, things get a little testy, but I think it's the passion behind what we do. I spoke earlier about our control of prioritization and our control of what staff is doing. I believe that's a real thing. And as we talk around the table, and as we continue to think about things and how we would like to move forward and prioritize, I think Commissioner Williams-Cox brought up a good point. I think somebody else said as well. As we consider reprioritization, we have to also consider the funds that's being spent as a result of reprioritization, and the funds that may be, I won't say wasted, but pushed out years and years from now because we've already expended those funds. And so I want us to be very thoughtful, very, very thoughtful in making those decisions and having those discussions here today. Finally, Commissioner Minor, what you brought up and the way you spoke about it was very eloquent. I agree with you. I think it was a little fast for us to consider what you were considering, but I think it's worthy of not just us considering that grant, and I think you would agree too, Commissioner Williams-Cox, but for us to consider and maybe look into what AI, what it looks like long term. You know, what are the projected numbers? What are we hearing? Should we be considering a program like the capital, small business capital program I'm talking about? Should we be considering something like that for the impact that AI is going to have on our workforce? And so I'm trying to think through what that looks like. You asked for staff to evaluate that program, but what I'm thinking more so is for staff to bring us back some anticipated numbers of impact of what AI is going to do to our workforce in the next 3 to 5 years. Does that make sense? And then we can have a discussion about how OEV dollars may be used in the out years to deal with some of that impact. So I'll make the motion that staff looks into and brings back information that speaks on how our workforce may be affected through AI in the next 4 to 5 years. And then I'm not going to specify, we can take that anywhere we want to, but I'm envisioning that if those numbers come back to be what Commissioner Meyer says and what I expect them to be, that then we will have a discussion around how we can commit long-term to having OEV dollars or some pot of money go towards retooling or dealing with the result of what may happen as folks lose their jobs to the machine. That'll be my second motion.
Motion second. Discussion.
I think Commissioner Cummings was first. I'll go after her.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Maddox, I think it's a good motion. I'll support it. The true answer is nobody knows. You know, I mean, that you've got, and that's why I talked about how, you've got people from Anthropic and Microsoft saying it could be as high as 40, 50%, 100% of white-collar jobs, entry level. You've got other folks saying it's not going to be anywhere near that amount, right? But I think it's a conservative estimate might be 10%, which is what I said during my comments. I think I'm going to support the motion. I think it's going to be, the agenda item that comes back is going to have a lot of qualifiers in it because nobody knows. But I do think, as I said during my comments, this is time for us to start taking a hard look at this, because if there are ways we can mitigate job loss in this community with what might be coming, I think that's something we should all be taking a look at, because this could be an upheaval of our labor market like we've never seen before. And we have a responsibility as elected officials in this community to do what we can, working with our partners throughout the entire community, TSC, FSU, FAMU, and our business partners in the chambers to forecast this as best we can and then take action. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Remember,
Thank you. Commissioner Minor's right. Nobody knows. And the people who are speculating are making money off of speculations and fear-mongering. Because I think about, when I went to college, I wanted to be a teacher. And my dad, who was a teacher, said, teachers don't make money. You need to learn about these computers. I took his advice. I learned to be a computer programmer. And computers came and took jobs. Certain things, automated things, and made them, things that were manual, they made them automated. And this is just another phase. It's like going from the industrial revolution, from the agricultural to the industrial revolution to this revolution. We have to continue to evolve. And those who embrace it are the ones who will continue to be able to have work. But I also know that there are a lot of resources, free resources out there right now that folks can begin to leverage and learn about AI to figure out best how to navigate this turn and how to go to the next horizon, because there will be something else, because this is the human nature. And I hate the fact that AI is not the only thing that's costing jobs. You go to the grocery store now, you have to do your own groceries in many cases. That's a job that somebody used to have. And so when I go to the grocery store, I want to clock in, because I didn't come to the grocery store to scan my own groceries. I want somebody to talk to me while you're taking my money from this overpriced grocery. But they're not there. I'm having to do it myself. So I get it, that machines are beginning to do what they're doing, but those who learn about these machines are the ones who will remain employed and know how to leverage it will be the ones who remain employed. So I encourage all of us to not wait for a grant, not to wait for government to tell us how to do it, and go out there and do it yourself, embrace it, learn how to go to that next level so that you won't become extinct.
And Board Member Maddox, could you state your motion?
Williams Cox kind of got me thinking now.
Never that. I want you to think.
No, the motion was for staff to bring back some research on how AI is going to impact our labor force in the next 5 years, and how we may be able, well, just how it's going to impact our labor force in the next 5 years. But now I'm thinking that what Commissioner Williams Cox has says, you're right. It's more. It's not just AI. It's technology. If you look at, what's happening at grocery stores and stuff like that, that's not AI. It's just a machine. I said the machine, right? Can I just my seconder? Can I just change it to technology, including AI and other ways?
Talk into the mic. Talk to the mic.
Ma'am, I'm wondering, can I change it to technology instead of just AI? How technology may affect our labor force in the next 5 years?
There's a seconder. All right. All in favor of the motion as modified or changed, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Board Member Cummings.
Thank you.
Have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to follow up on one of the speakers that came earlier. She talked about the New Hope Cemetery on Miccosukee Road, and she indicated that Blueprint had done something before, a report before. I don't recall. And I just want to ask if any, Autumn, if anybody can recall where we are on that.
Yeah. It's been a couple of years that the IA board had the same citizen came and gave testimony, and the IA board asked Blueprint to take a look at the New Hope Cemetery or the New Hope community to perform a historical survey, but also we were charged through the permitting process to ensure that we were not impacting that cemetery through the construction of the roadway. And that was performed. I think we did over 300 shovel tests to ensure that the road did not impact the cemetery area. So the permit for the roadway was able to move forward, and then we had inspectors on site during the time that the road was constructed in that vicinity to ensure that there was nothing new that popped up. So that was all good news. At the same time, the City of Tallahassee, because the property that the cemetery sits on is owned by the City of Tallahassee, did an extensive amount of coordination with the Division of Historical Resources through the Department of State. And the Department of State and the city worked together to do a cadaver dog search to make sure hits for graves. And then they were able to kind of delineate where they believe the cemetery area may be based on the best information that they had. And that cemetery area was fenced off. And the Division of State, or Department, Division of Historical Resources recommended to the city to leave it as is, with the trees and the brush and the shrubbery that's in place over the cemetery, because that has the lowest risk of damaging any of the graves. So today, that cemetery that's delineated sits partially on land that's owned by the state, where the Miccosukee Greenway is, where the county has the lease for the Greenway. So it extends over to the Greenway, and it extends across the property that's owned by the city. We have, the speaker mentioned that we've been working on a report, and that report is almost finished, and it documents
awesome.
the community. Yeah, a really deep dive. There was not a lot of readily available information about the community, which quite frankly is not surprising given its location, its size, and the people that made up that community. But we were able to find, through extensive research, some great information pieces that have been now included in that report. However, the report, we see it as a living document, and if there's more information that comes in about descendants or people that may be buried in that cemetery, we can add it to the report and update it. Oh, and the last thing that we're working on right now is some signage, interpretive signage. We built a small parking area near where the cemetery is, and we're going to install a sign there so that anybody comes, they can learn a little bit about that community and the contributions it made to Tallahassee and the county.
So, Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that a report will be coming back to this board. Is that what you're saying?
Well, when we finish
You're
the
working on
report, we'll post it to the Blueprint website and make sure everyone's aware of that. Yeah.
You're going to post it to the website?
We'll post it to our website on the project, or the project website.
Mm-hmm. But I'd like to move that the report be brought back to this board. Apparently, I guess the initial instructions came from Blueprint. So I just move that report be brought back to our Blueprint board, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second.
What do you need a motion or staff direction? We can move the motion. Okay. Well, the direction is to bring that back as you've requested, as the board has requested. Based on Are you satisfied with that?
Well, we have a motion and a second. You're saying you don't need to carry the motion? Is that what you're saying?
Right, we're just giving
Them directions to bring it back. That's all we need. Because you're already working on the report. Awesome.
Right, we've already been given direction to do the report, so.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Commissioner O'Keefe, did you have some additional?
I did, and you'll be all glad to hear it'll be brief. And talk about the workforce. I'm curious, where does involvement in the skilled trades jobs, construction, electrician, plumber, technician, fit into any OEV programs?
Commissioner, are you referring to like targeted programs that, can you kind of
Sure. I didn't want to trigger the whole AI conversation again, but as I was listening and we were talking about AI taking jobs, one of the biggest missing factors in our labor population is skilled trades. And it's going to be a long time before AI replaces skilled trades. So I was curious, do we have any involvement in promoting or helping connect people to skilled trades? If the answer is no, that's fine, but I wanted to find out.
We absolutely do, and I'll tee it off, and then Keith can kind of fill in the specific details. But one of the categories that we have for the MWSB certifications are those trades, and so as we bring back SBE policy, as y'all directed us earlier in this meeting, that's something we'll be looking at because we want to continue finding ways of supporting those industries, especially with small businesses. But then Leon Works is something that OEV is heavily involved in, and it's a partnership, Leon County, supported by OEV, and that is a really good opportunity for people kind of considering going into the trades out of high school or something instead of, college is not going to be for everyone or not even immediately. And there are programs like that. So Keith, you want to kind of highlight, you may even have the numbers of people who've gone through that and the apprentice of the year and some of those kind of things.
Right. Well, as it relates to Leon Works, we average about anywhere from 600 to 700 students that participate, in over 100 different exhibitors that will provide an immersive experience for those students, just to give them some insight on the requirements for the job and some of the certificates and training that's necessary to compete for those jobs. We also work in partnership with the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. They do a Worlds of Work, which is a program that is very similar to Leon Works, but it's cordoned off into different worlds. So you have a healthcare world, you have a construction world, you have a hospitality world. So just making sure that those students are aware of the opportunities that exist here in Leon County, Tallahassee. Also, I serve on the advisory board for Lively Technical College, and working with them in terms of trying to make sure that the curriculum that they are currently developing aligns with the demands for workforce. And then also we serve on the Talent Development Council, along with some other community partners. Work closely with Career Source Capital Region. Also, as already mentioned, with our MWSBE procurement program, we offer additional points if those companies that are competing for those contracts agree to provide any type of internship, apprenticeship. So we're heavily involved in making sure that the trades are front and center to some of the initiatives that we implement.
Thank you, it's very helpful. I tried welding at the World of Works, and we still have a shortage of welders. Ain't gonna happen. Thank you, that was all.
Any further discussion? Oh, thank you. No further discussion. We are going to call the meeting adjourned. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion and a second. We stand adjourned.